Hi everybody, this is Mohammed Timuri, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Now, I have not posted a video in a very long time, but today I wanted to touch upon the COVID-19. I know that we live in very difficult times. We can't agree on anything, and everything is being viewed in terms of politics, and everything has become toxic. And our country is on a brink that we can no longer call ourselves a democracy. It's under threat, and the media has a responsibility. The misinformation that is being spread out there are people who are in power, governors, senators who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. This virus was discovered, yes, in Wuhan, but how China went about it and how we went about it showed a clear divide between the earth and the sky in terms of how they dealt with it and how we dealt with it. I do firmly believe that yes, China went about it the correct way, and we botched our response because we treated it as a politics. Politics took center stage, public health took secondary importance. Now, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, that's your right. But that's my stance that China did take the proper response about how they dealt with it. And I do believe that in certain cases, when you have a certain crisis going on, collective collective action is more important than individual action. But it comes at an individual base. So we took politics over anything else. We were too busy to keep blaming China for it, and we didn't look at our own deficiencies at which what we did. But given that Trump is out of the White House, it's not going to change. Trump is still in power. He's de facto head, I guess, or the boss of the Republican Party. But I do firmly believe what we've seen in 4 years and how everything's going, I do firmly believe that he may be reelected. That's just my gut telling me that he's going to get reelected in 2024. Unless drastic actions are taken. I feel like our response to Trump not being elected is not by, well, I do like to see him go to jail, but I feel like the best way to fight him or to get this disease out of the way is that by the remaining of society, is by re-establishing ourselves that social contract. Let's sit down at the table. Let's establish guidelines. We're not each other's enemies, but right now we are viewing. So half the country, so people who are Trump's base, which is not a majority, it's a minority. It's a very small minority. But what I'm seeing is that truth is truth is truth, but we're currently right now in our current political climate, truth is relative based on the situation. So why am I saying that? Because it's more like, do you accept this ideology or not? The Trump people, they have accepted the ideology. The ideology is, we accepted the ideology that the election was stolen. Because you accept this ideology, that becomes your truth. That's why I say truth now has become relative. So you subscribe to an ideology, by extension, that is your truth, and you run on that. Now to reason with those people, it is a fool's job, because you're running around circles and not achieving anything. But I think for the rest of the people, the majority of them, the best way to fight Trump or this movement is by sitting down and saying, okay, we should not view each other as enemies. We should come together. I do believe that what holds us together outweighs that what divides us. And we can still take measures. I do think that the potential for civil war is high, and it's very fearful thinking that. What we accuse other people in our view as a country, what we think about other countries are undemocratic, or as per our own standards, what other countries are undemocratic. We have a Capitol Hill right now that is still surrounded. I'm not sure if it's still completely or partial, but it's surrounded by barricades. So these are all little scenes that you can see that you say, okay, normally we see this in other countries that we accuse of being undemocratic. Now we see the same thing here in the US, which wasn't possible many, many years back. But if we don't do nothing about it, I think this movement of Trump is going to get stronger, amplified, and firm. I mean, there's even like pollings being done, and the current, according to some polls, that there is a little bit of mood that surprisingly, both, not everybody, of course, but there's I would say a percentage, a number of people, both on both sides, who are agreeing that yes, we're tired. Liberals are tired of or people who are more conservative leaning, who are tired of people who are more liberal leaning. So we should just divorce and split the country. So there are people who are in favor of doing that. Not that that is a majority, but because that would be alarming. I don't want to use a passport to go to different parts of the US. I want to be able to travel freely from one state to another state. But there are people who are okay that yes, we should separate each other. We should just, like, we're tired of each other. That's it, I'm done. I hate you, you hate me. I can't live with you, you can't live with me. But we have to stop looking at each other as the enemy. Stop using politics, and stop treating this and start treating this virus as public health. For you to say that this mask wearing is a statement for me, I am firmly against that. That is, to me, that's a stupid statement to make. Yes, there's a virus rate, and this virus was capable of bringing countries down. Economies flipped upside down. It damaged our own economy, our own country. If we got badly, I mean, we have the most cases in the world. We had a botched response to it. So this virus was able to upend the entire world economy, and everybody was and has been and still will be affected by it. So to blame each other, that's not gonna be the best way to go about it. But we need to establish guardrails. Let's not accuse each other. Let's not want to kill each other. Let's not want to attack each other. Sit down. And the side that has lost cannot accept it that we lost. So they are going with a lunatic fringe. Was stolen and so forth. But unless we are able to respect each other and sit down and say, this is not normal, we should stop doing this, we're not each other's enemies. Americans are not enemies of each other. But we also need to point out and try to make sure that the news channels stop spreading misinformation. Stop scaring the hell out of people. Stop lying. I hate Fox News. It is not a news corporation. It is a lying, conspiratorial base. So Fox News and all the other news networks out there, some more, some less, overall the whole news media is lying. I don't trust our media. Because we're too busy now talking about the rest of the world, how the rest of the world is messed up, and how they know. We need to fix ourselves. We have human rights violations going up here. We have a virus that we're still trying to figure out. Yes, Joe Biden took some actions. But when Trump was in office, we found out that we were almost going into a war, because Trump was willing. And you know Trump, he's willing to do even the most extreme things just to secure his base, just to secure his own position. I firmly believe, one, that he's going to be reelected in 2024 unless we do things to stop it. That is to hold a national dialogue, bring down the temperature, sit down. This is not about freedom. This is about treating it as public health crisis. If you want your freedom, wear a mask. So when this virus winds down, we can enjoy those precious freedom that we're after. My family, we are wearing masks because we're not treating it as politics, we're treating it as public health crisis. Yes, it's inconvenient, but this virus wasn't inconvenient, and it came out of nowhere. And now we're in it, and now we can control it. And now we're talking about trying to live with it. So we have a vaccine, now we have like 15th variant coming out, Omicron, and then we have new. And I'm sure many more I'm sure many more variants will come out in the future. But unless we hold a national dialogue, unless we individually take hand in hand, sit down, and say, Let's establish that Americans are not each other's enemies. Because if we view that, then we're no longer a country. We're at war with each other, and we're going to become even more splintered, even further beyond that. We need to hold our elected officials responsible that stop lying, stop spewing nonsense, and do your job. And there are people out there who are not doing their job. And I don't think Joe Biden, even in his 4 years, I don't think that he can do much change because Trump has done enough damage that can last for years to come. Even if he's elected, now of course, if he's elected in 4 years old, I think we're no longer going to be a democracy. Like at that point, we're zero. And that is a scary thought. Because I do think that we need some aspects of we need some aspects of democracy. I don't think that we are a real definition of democracy. I do think that we need to take aspects of democracy and aspects of authoritarianism, fuse it together in order to implement. Because China is not an authoritarian. It is a mixed country. It has communist ideology. It has authoritarian tendencies. But it's also important about what do Chinese people think. Because we tend to judge China based on what they do. As per the latest poll that was done one time in China, 70% of its country thought the polling was they believed they were a democracy. The latest poll that I saw in the US, I'm not sure if it was Winnipeg or another, like these are like these one of those high rated polls that are being taken in the US. The latest poll said that barely 50% of US thought that we are a democracy. And the number is actually inching a little bit further up, that we're not a democracy, that the mood is that we are optimistic about 2024, but we still don't believe that the country is on the right path. Joe Biden is doing something. He's taking some measures. Well, the whole checks that he sent out, that was a good thing. I supported that. But overall, I think in this whole trying to blame it all on China, that means we're not accepting what we did, that we should be responsible. So we should, look ourselves into the mirror a little bit, do some internal reflection, talk to our own country, say, what did we do wrong? This is what we did. When we know that clearly it messed up, now we need to take certain measures and go with that. So please share me your thoughts. I do believe that yes, if you don't want to get a vaccine, but you are responsible, that yes, you have the right not to get the vaccine if you don't want it to. I didn't get the vaccine. Doesn't mean that I'm not wearing masks. I wear masks. My family wear masks. I come at home. I do all the things I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm pre-med. Well, I'm not pre-med. I'm a medical student. And I'm almost done. But I'm not treating this as a politics. It's a virus. Viruses are on the level of micrometers, which means we cannot see them with our eyes. But we know this virus exists because we have people in the hospitals who are dying, who are on ventilators. People who have diabetes and other type of lung diseases and lung conditions. Old age, all of these increases your risk. So, by myriad of studies that have shown that yes, if you have other diseases, of course, and other comorbidities, it's going to increase your chance of getting COVID. And we've seen enough cases online about people going to a barbecue or like, yeah, okay, look, we listened to the measures for 60 days. As soon as things got a little bit better in the US, we flouted the rules and went about our own way. And now everybody in the US, nobody agrees with each other. That's one. Two, Trump's base is getting more amplified, more stronger, more radical. So please, let's stop this heated rhetoric. Please, let's sit down to each other, let cooler minds prevail. And please, let's say to each other that we have more in common than what divides us. And we need to do some deep soul searching, look into the mirror, fix our own deficiencies, and stop blaming everything on the outside world, because that is an easy thing to do, to blame others for our own mistakes and keep deflecting blame, keep saying, they did it, they did it, they did it. No, what did we do? And because right now we are in what I would like to say, we are in the Kubler-Ross stages, we're in denial. unless we start accepting that we have also had a responsibility, that we were partly responsible, if not fully responsible, for this whole response, and then we need to hold our elected officials and our media accountable that stop the lying, stop the propaganda, stop confusing people. I mean, at Fox News, they have probably some of the most stringent measures that even goes probably beyond the national what Joe Biden put through. So they get themselves vaccinated, yet you go, yet you go on live TV and you tell your base, "Oh, don't get vaccine." That is grossly irresponsible. I am a news anchor. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go get vaccinated, and we have a robust testing in place. But yet on live TV, we tell our people, "Don't get vaccinated." So yes, our news media is responsible for people dying, for people not getting vaccinated, for people treating everything as a politics. So please subscribe to my channel. Tell me what you thought. If you agree with me or disagree with me, we can agree and disagree as long as we respect each other. I will respect you even if you don't agree with me. And I'm firm in my stance that I do think, yes, some stance that China did, it was effective and we should have done that. And I still believe that we have to do that. But that doesn't mean that we have to replicate everything that China does up here, because no, some things in China works for them and their country and what their own citizens think. And we need to kind of also mind our own business to see what works for us. This is what works for us. So we can't keep telling Chinese people, you have to adopt our own way. No, they say, no, we don't want to. So we have to be respectful of that, of other countries, about how they want to run their own affairs. And that we're not the best judge of democracy, because we've seen how our own country ended up being in that way. So share me your thoughts, what you think, and whether you and whether we can actually come together. So share me your thoughts, what you think of it, and whether you believe that Trump is going to get reelected in 2024, and whether you think that Joe Biden has done enough, whether it's domestic, whether it's international, about in terms of everything, that he's doing a good job or not. So I'm gonna cap out. That was it for tonight, and I'm gonna be posting more videos in the future. Thank you for your time. Ian, subscribe to my channels, and I'd like to have more of these conversations going forward into the future. Have a good night.